consumers have numerous choices from where consumers always try to opt for the best possible alternative so as to maximize their satisfaction level by using limited resources at their disposal. In this process, they face trade-offs and opportunity set. The concept of budget constraint and time constraint explain how the choices can be made and shown graphically. Budget constraint is shown in the form of a downward sloping straight line. Consumer can choose any one of the large number of combination on a given budget constraint, say AB as shown in figure 2.4. When consumers chooses to have more of commodity shown on x-axis, he will have less of commodity shown on the y-axis and vice versa. Consumer can also be at the extreme point, say A and B, in which case he or she is consuming just one commodity in isolation. Even time can also be devoted in different possible manners. There are 24 hours available with every person, which can be spent on watching TV or other sources of entertainment, or the same time can be utilized for productive activities. In case we spend the entire amount of time on entertainment, nothing is left to be spent for productive activities and vice versa. So we have to make a reconciliation of the conflicting goals of entertainment and productive activities. Then only we shall be able to maximize our welfare by working on one or the other point on the constraint, which is again linear downward sloping. Another important explanation and example of opportunity set will be production possibility curve or production possibility frontier, which is generally non-linear. It represents graphically different possible alternative combinations of maximum amount of two goods that can be produced with the available resources of the economy. Such alternatives are called as production possibilities. There are certain assumptions on which this production possibility curve is based upon. First one is goods may be many, but to make the analysis simple, we assume production of only two goods. Second, the economy has fixed quantity of resources which are assumed to be perfectly mobile and are suitable for the production of both the goods. That means resources are not specific. That means resources can be shifted from the production of one commodity to the other. All resources are fully employed. That means economy is working at full employment, and hence there is no wastage of or underemployment. The level of technology is also assumed to be constant, and any progress in the technology is ruled out for the time being. Production efficiency of the resources is given in the physical terms. That means effect of prices is not taken into account. The last assumption is different units of productive resources are imperfect substitutes of each other. It implies that some of the resources are more efficient in the production of one commodity, while others are more efficient in the production of other commodity. Economy often makes a choice between war and civilian goods, where guns and butter example is very commonly used. The same analysis can be extended to the choice between any other combination of commodities. If more resources are devoted to the production of consumption goods, say butter, less resources are available for the production of defense goods, say war goods, gun, or any capital good. The type of allocation of resources that we actually use affect the productive capacity of the economy. Table 2.2 shows alternative production possibilities A, B, C, D, E, and F for guns and butter. As we keep on increasing the production of butter, The resources have to be diverted from the production of guns to the production of this commodity. So the production of other commodity, that is guns, is reduced. The five alternative possibilities depicted in table 2.2 have been graphically plotted through figure 2.6, showing production possibility curves as different combinations of two commodities which economy can produce with the available resources. The entire area under production possibility curve is actually society's opportunity set. While opportunity set of the individuals described as budget constraint is normally a straight line, while society's budget constraint or opportunity set is concave and non-linear. While individual faces fixed trade-offs, trade-offs faced by the society are actually not fixed. In case society decides to produce more of a particular product, it will have to use the resources that are best equipped for the production of that commodity. As society tries to produce more of that commodity, it will become more difficult as the resources available to produce that commodity become less and less appropriate for producing that product. It means that every time we produce one extra unit of the product, the society has to sacrifice more and more units of the other product. This is the reason why production possibility curve is concave to the origin. First, we have to understand that production possibility curve is also downward sloping. Since resources in the economy are limited, if more of a particular commodity is to be produced, then lesser amount of resources are available for the production of other commodity. That is why production possibility curve is downward sloping. Further, when more and more resources are shifted from the production of one commodity to the other, the productivity of additional resources in the new use keeps on declining. Therefore, the additional resources give diminishing productivity or increasing cost in the production of other commodity. In figure 2.6, when economy moves from point A to point B, 1,000 guns are sacrificed to produce 1 million tons of butter. But when the same economy moves again from point B to point C, 2,000 guns are sacrificed to produce additional 1 million tons of butter. We find that the relative cost of producing every additional unit of butter in terms of guns keeps on increasing. Thus, we find the application of the law of diminishing returns or increasing cost. On account of increasing relative cost or rising marginal opportunity cost, production possibility curve is concave to the origin. So we have seen that all resources cannot be used in the production of different goods with the same level of efficiency. In the initial stages, only those resources are used to produce butter which are more efficient in this line. If the production of butter is to be increased further, it can be done only by diverting the resources from the production of guns. The resources transferred from the production of guns to butter are not so efficient in the production of butter as these are in the production of guns. So because of this transfer of resources, sacrifice of guns is greater than the gain in butter, and the cost of butter in terms of guns keeps on rising. We have noticed that production possibility curve is drawn on the assumption that all the resources of the economy are fully utilized. But if some resources are underutilized, that means there is underemployment or unemployment of some of the resources. Output combination of two goods will lie below the production possibility curve. As we can see from figure 2.7, point P is inside the production possibility curve AF. This point P is showing the combination that can be attained. It means that some of the resources of the economy are lying idle, or resources are not being used efficiently. Here, production of butter or guns or both can be increased if the economy moves from point P to Q or S or R. And this is done by full or efficient use of the resources. But any point outside the boundary of the PPC is not within the reach of the economy with the given resources and technology. Thus, only production possibility curve implies most efficient use of the resources. Economic growth and improvement in technology. Suppose there is increase in the quantity of resources with the economy. It may be due to discovery of new stock of natural resources or improvement in the technology, as a result of which productive capacity of the economy rises. With increase in the productive capacity, the combination that were unattainable earlier will become attainable now. Now economy can produce more butter or more guns or both, as a result of which the production possibility curve will shift to the right as shown in figure 2.8, where production possibility curve has been shifted from AF to A dash F dash and further to A double dash F double dash. Here we are able to produce more of guns as well as butter due to more availability of resources or improvement in the technology. Similarly, when the resources decline in the economy or there is degradation of the technology, the production possibility curve shifts to the left to A naught, F naught, as shown in this figure. You must understand there is a difference between movement from a point inside the production possibility curve and the movement from one production possibility curve to another. In figure 2.7, economy moves from point in the interior boundary of the production possibility curve, say P, to a point on the production possibility curve, say Q, R, or S. But in the case of shift in the production possibility curve, there is increase in the production of both the goods, and the movement may be from a lower point to a higher point, showing production of both the goods at a greater level. It is not always necessary that there is improvement in technology which is equally benefiting both the commodities. It is quite possible that there may not be any improvement in the technology for producing one commodity, say guns. So its quantity produced remains the same as shown in figure 2.9a part. Similarly, if the technology that got improved or there is increase in the availability of resources that suit only the production of guns, there will not be any shift or movement along x-axis. That means economy will continue to produce same amount of butter but more amount of guns. Production possibility frontier and central problems of an economy. We use the term production possibility frontier because we are on the front, we are at the boundary where we are utilizing our resources in the best possible manner. Through such efficiencies, we can solve the three central problems of an economy to the extent possible. The first problem is related to the allocation of resources between the goods to be produced. That means what goods should be produced and in what quantity. In figure 2.6, if economy operates at point B, then 14,000 guns and 1 million tons of butter are produced. On the other hand, when the economy operates at point C, 12,000 guns and 2 million tons of butter are produced. The economy will have to sacrifice 2,000 guns to increase the production of butter by 1 million ton. In the terminology of economics, The opportunity cost of producing 1 million tons of butter is 2000 tons. Thus, different points of production possibility curve imply different allocation of resources between the two goods to be produced. A particular point at which economy actually operates depends upon the demand of the consumer for different goods. The second problem is related to the technique to be used in the process of production. This is the problem of choosing the combination of factors of production so as to maximize production or to minimize the cost. Thus, the technology chosen for production should be efficient. If the best possible technology is employed, the economy will be operating at the point of production possibility curve. But if the economy operates at a point in the interior part of the production possibility curve, it means the resources are not being used efficiently. And that implies maximum possible production is not being done with the help of the given resources. In order to improve the standard of living and welfare of the people, resources should be used more efficiently. The third problem is the distribution of national product, which is not directly solved from the production possibility curve. We can just get an idea of the distribution of national product from the production possibility curve. We may take luxurious goods on one axis and necessities on the other axis. By knowing the point on the curve at which economy actually operates, we can find out how much luxurious goods and how much necessities are being produced, as shown in figure 2.10. When the economy is at point P1, more of luxurious goods and less of necessities are being produced. Opposite is the situation when the economy operates at point P2 that lies on the lower part of the production possibility curve. So we often find considerable inequalities of income and wealth in the economy when more quantity of luxurious goods are produced while poor people are not getting the basic necessities of life. But in the second situation, relatively more of basic consumer goods are being produced, showing relatively more equal distribution of income and wealth in the economy. So P1 point indicates inequalities or disparities and P2 point shows relatively equalities in the distribution of income and wealth. In brief, we can say the production possibility curve illustrates three concepts, namely scarcity, choice, and the opportunity cost. Scarcity is implied by the unattainable combinations. It is because of limited resources that we are not able to attain some combinations of commodities at a given point of time. We can reach at those combinations when there is growth in the country, that is improvement in the availability of resources or upgradation of technology. Further, opportunity cost concept is also being reflected through production possibility curve by the downward slope. That means to get more of something, one must accept less of something else. While choice is indicated by the need to choose among many available combinations of the commodities. Since we have used the concept of opportunity cost while explaining production possibility frontier, we must know actually what happens when expenses are incurred on the factors of production. That means cost. A producer makes payment in the form of rent to the landlord, wages to the labor, interest to the capital, and some expenditure is also incurred on other inputs like raw material, power, transportation, communication, etc. Such monetary expenses incurred by a firm in the production of a commodity is termed as the cost of production. But the term cost is also used in much broader sense. That means even when no monetary payment is being involved, still cost is incurred. For example, if producer was not supposed to engage in the production of a commodity, he would have been paid certain amount of income in the form of salary. Since the producer sacrifices this salary, this should also form part of the cost of production. Similarly, a businessman running his or her empire in his or her own flat that could have been rented out. This rent should form a part of the cost of production because this rent has been sacrificed. Similarly, the money invested by the entrepreneur in the business could have earned interest. So, by keeping that money for use in the business, this reward is also lost. So, such money expenses also constitute a part of the cost. Costs are also involved in collecting information, processing information, storing information, or taking information from the data bank for use by the management. There are also tremendous social costs of misleading advertisement in this world of risk and uncertainty. Such information costs are indispensable. Understanding of the concept of opportunity costs will help us in understanding the central idea of these concepts. Opportunity cost is the cost which is actually not incurred but would have been incurred in the absence of employment of the self-owned factors of production. Since a firm has to pay to owners of factors what they can get in the alternative job, opportunity cost is also known as alternate cost. For the government, cost of building a college may be the hospital that could not be constructed or has been sacrificed. For the society, the cost of setting up arms factory may be the bread and butter sacrifice. Opportunity cost concept has wide economic implications as can be seen through production possibility curve also. Since supply of the factors is limited, factor can be utilized in the present use by sacrificing its use for other purpose or for future. Opportunity cost concept is useful in short-term decisions like sales strategy, inventory management, hiring and firing of labor, and so on and so forth. So profit-oriented firm must consider opportunity cost besides explicit cost where expenses are actually being paid to the outside parties. Sunk cost. Sunk cost is the expenditure that has been incurred and cannot be recovered. All expenses incurred in the past can be considered as sunk cost. Sunk cost will also include an expenditure that has to be incurred in the future under a binding contractual agreement. Since sunk cost cannot be recovered, it is irrelevant for decision making. Since such expenses cannot be controlled, we can call sunk cost as unavoidable and uncontrollable cost. Sunk cost is different from fixed cost because sunk cost can be incurred in both short and long period, while fixed cost is relevant only in the short period because all costs are variable in the long period. Next is marginal cost. It is the cost incurred on one extra unit that is being produced. Effective decision making requires comparing the additional cost of alternative with the additional benefits. In order to determine the best level of consumption, people must compare the additional benefits with the additional cost. Marginal benefit is the change in the total benefit resulting from an action, while marginal cost is the change in total cost resulting from that action. So long as marginal benefits of an activity is more than marginal cost, we should go ahead with that activity. Since people are better off doing more of that activity, but when the marginal cost exceeds the marginal benefit, we must avoid that activity. So we are better off by doing less of that activity. In order to determine the optimal level of public policy program, bureaucrats, government officials, and the voters must compare the marginal benefits and the marginal cost wherever it is a matter of rendering of any services from any program. In brief, we can say the basic step for the rational choice will be to identify the opportunity sets, to define the trade-offs, and finally to calculate cost correctly, ignoring the sunk cost, but taking into account opportunity cost and marginal cost.